In Buddhism, these are not miracles in the sense of being supernatural events, any more than the discovery and amazing uses of lasers are miraculous. However, they may appear to those ignorant of the nature and potentials of light. Such contemplatives claim to have realized the nature and potentials of consciousness far beyond anything known in contemporary science. What may appear supernatural to a scientist or a layperson may seem perfectly natural. This is very important. I'm going to repeat this line again. What may appear supernatural to a scientist or a lay person may seem perfectly natural to an advanced contemplative, much as certain technological advances may appear miraculous to a contemplative. Okay, so a contemplative in this case would be a meditator, a yogi, a monk. So we're going to talk about siddhis in this video. Siddhis are powers, magical powers. Again, quote unquote magical, because they only appear to be miraculous and magical to those ignorant of their true nature, of the nature of light. Okay, and siddhis usually develop as a result of spiritual advancement, of advancing in your spiritual work. Then you potentially could awaken some of your siddhis, some of your inner spiritual psychic powers, as some people would refer to them as psychic powers. Now, we're going to go over all the different siddhis here. I got them up here lined up. I don't know them by memory. But before I go on to each individual siddhi, each individual magical power, miraculous power, again, it just depends on your perspective. There really isn't any miracles. That's to put it in as dumbed down to you of a statement as possible. There aren't really any miracles. Miracles are only to those who are ignorant of the nature of things as they are. Now, conventional wisdom, and I'll read you a little bit here. Conventional wisdom advises against deliberately trying to attain siddhis, trying to attain magical powers. And the reason for this is because you're setting yourself up for a trap if you seek to attain spiritual power, psychic power, siddhis. You're setting yourself up for a trap because there is great potential for arrogance to arise, for pride to arise, and ultimately that reinforces your sense of separation from all. Okay? That being said, there are some great sages, great masters, great gurus that even are alive today that do possess siddhis, do possess these powers. Okay? So these things will sort of happen naturally. And the conventional wisdom is don't seek for them. Okay? If they happen to you, that means they're given to you by source, by spirit. And you have to stay humble in that, because I mean, you see it, one of you guys in the live stream, we talked and, I mentioned something about you probably have some kind of psychic power to see into the future, into the past. And that's in fact one of the siddhis. And if that unlocks for you this ability to see into the Akashic records, into the past, into the future, without you attempting to get this siddhi, this power, then that power is given to you by spirit. And then you also still have to be humble about it, and you have to be careful. Otherwise, there is potential for pride. If you become the dream prophet like Edgar Cayce, for example, he clearly, spirit gave him the power, and his predictions were unbelievably accurate. Not 100%, but unbelievably accurate. Okay? Now, if you're given a siddhi, a power by spirit, you have to be basically using it for the common good, because if it reinforces a sense of separation, reinforces or gives you a sense of pride and arrogance. I'm the guy that can read into the future. Of course, if you're the guy that can read into the future, then your social status is gonna shoot up the sky, and you're gonna have to be careful with that. So it's usually advised against attempting to gain siddhis, rather than just continue to work on reaching the ultimate state, samadhi, the ultimate state, nirvana, mukti. Okay, so I'll read you a little bit just to reinforce this again. I feel like this is very important. I'll read you something from Yogananda's website. Yogananda is a yogi that brought yoga into America back in the 20s or 30s, I believe. And he was also not only believed, I mean, he was witnessed to perform certain siddhis, certain powers, and he actually warns against it. So I'll read you a little bit. Question: did Paramahansa Yoganandaji make any comment on occult powers, siddhis? If so, what were those comments? In his autobiography, by the way, the autobiography of Yogananda is apparently a really, really amazing book. I haven't picked it up yet, but probably be a good idea. In his autobiography, it is mentioned in one chapter that he himself had some occult power, the power to see immediate future. If I'm not mistaken, in his childhood days, he knew that he would get a boil on his hand the next day. Answer: this is an important topic. Siddhis, also known as yogic powers, exist. They are part of the spiritual path, but can become a major instrument of Maya, which means illusion, resulting in the downfall of yogis who desire them. Again, be careful. Not be careful, be mindful. I don't like to use the word be careful because it has the fear vibration rather than be mindful. Traditionally, there are 8 main yogic siddhis. You can get details in the book, The Holy Science. Okay, now, yes, Yogananda had siddhis. Close disciples witnessed them at times. Peggy dates witnessed him levitate. Swami Krenananda writes how Yogananda knew his every thought and everything he had done at a distance. Same thing Ram Dass talks about his relationship to his guru. His guru knew everything about him. Every little minor detail you could think of. Tulsi Bose saw him resurrect a dead person. He healed many seriously sick persons. So, Yogananda, in other words, has been witnessed many times to possess these siddhis. Now, see what his opinion on the matter is. Yes, he knew the future. He could also see the distant past person's previous incarnations. His siddhis were also revealed at his death. Yogananda's body remained in a state of complete incorruption for 3 weeks after his passing. Described even in Times magazine. Wow. Up to the moment his body was laid in the crypt. Amazing. So, Yogananda did not advocate displaying such powers in public. He said, many come expecting miracles, but those who have realized God never show their powers unless God directs them to. People don't see that in that complete humility is the greatest miracle. Let me say that again. People don't see that in that complete humility lies the greatest miracle. If I were to perform miracles in public, I could attract crowds of followers, but that isn't the way God wants it. Let's see. Another point. Spiritual advancement is not measured by one's outward powers, but only by the depth of his bliss in meditation. Samadhi. Right? So, common, I've also heard Ram Dass, he asked his guru, he said, what do you think of siddhis? Now, his guru was beaming with siddhis, okay? His guru was reported to teleport, read minds, and, do all kinds of stuff, right? And his guru replied, they're pig shit, okay? That was his answer to it. Because unless the siddhi, the power is given to you, then don't seek for it. And that's a good attitude to go on about life. Don't seek the Divine Mother. It isn't very pleasant to seek and need. If the Divine Mother is the Maya, the illusion. If the Divine Mother comes to you, then it's good. Then it's enjoyable. So if the Divine Mother says, hey, look, I'm giving you this specific siddhi, then you're meant to have that siddhi. And then you could it will be used through you. You understand? So, for example, Wim Hof with his crazy cold exposure, his ability to withstand extreme cold, that's one of the cities we're going to talk about. So Wim Hof has one of these cities. Clearly, that was the city that was given to him by his fate, by his wife's depression and suicide. Clearly, his path led him to the path, the city of withstanding extreme colds. But I wouldn't think Wim Hof went out of his way. He even says, I just had an urge for the cold. I had a calling for the cold. And as he kept answering the call, the city, he became the city. And he's using his cities, his powers, all his world Guinness records, they draw attention to him. He's not even using it with intention, with conscious intention. It's just happening through him. Okay, so hopefully you see where I'm coming with this. Because in the early phases of me getting into this work, I really wanted to have cities. I really wanted to have powers, right? Now I have to be a little more mindful of the whole scene. Okay, because make no mistake, as you advance spiritually, you're going to unlock some cities. And I believe every one of us has a thing in this particular incarnation, in this particular round, this particular lifetime, okay, this particular birth. I believe everyone has a city or two that could really help unite the world and bring the unity consciousness in, okay? But again, don't seek for it, don't try for it, just keep going on your path, on your journey in life, and keep meditating, keep advancing your consciousness, keep learning, keep studying, and then whatever thing you're drawn to, answer the call, and who knows? Again, the greatest city is the humility. It's being here now. Okay, that's not the point. That's not the point. So now that we put out this disclaimer, very, very important. Very, very important. Let's go through the cities. So I'm basically reading them from Wikipedia here. And there's two different traditions that have different cities. One is Shaivism, the other is Vaishnavism. So we'll do both, we'll read out both. We'll start off with Shaivism. So in Shaivism, there are 8 primary cities. So number 1, and I'm not even gonna bother pronouncing the Sanskrit because I'm just not gonna embarrass myself here, okay? So I'll just tell you what each city means. So first city, reducing one's body to the size of an atom. Second one, expanding one's body to an infinitely large size. 3, becoming infinitely heavy. And I've actually heard stories about Buddhist monks who took on the form of a mountain, the energy of a mountain. They became the mountain, and they had like 5 really jacked guys try to move them, but they just wouldn't move because they became the mountain. See, that only happens when you're so advanced meditatively that you could focus on a mountain and you could become the mountain. Okay? So that's what I mean by these powers begin to unlock as your meditation improves, as your spiritual work improves, your concentration improves. So becoming almost weightless. Just on the other end, you could take on the energy of a feather, for example, right? Ability to be anywhere at will. That's the teleporting which Ram Dass reported his guru doing frequently. And what else? Realizing whatever one desires. That's number 6. You could literally manifest things out of thin air if you want to, because your thoughts, literally, your mind creates matter. Supremacy over nature. You could manipulate the forces of nature. Control of natural forces. Now you have to understand, these people when you unlock these cities, you're operating from source. So you created this whole thing, so you can manipulate it. You're now playing not from the level of the player, not from the level of the character, you're playing from the level of a programmer. You're now not even the programmer. You're everything. You're it. You're playing from the highest possible place you could play. So of course you could do all these things. You created this whole thing, right? You simulated it. You created it. It's in your mind, so you could manipulate it at will. But of course, again, you have to go up in consciousness. So those are the 8 primary ones according to Shaivism. Vaishnavism, there are 5 primary cities and 10 secondary. So the 5 primary, knowing past, present, and future. Okay. And then the second one is tolerance of heat, cold, and other dualities. Our example here is the great Wim Hof and Tummo, Tibetan monks doing Tummo meditation. That's, tolerance of heat, cold, and other dualities. They just don't care. 3, knowing the minds of others. Okay, and Ram Dass's guru was pretty much notorious for that. Number 4, checking the influence of fire, sun, water, poison. I've heard stories of yogis drinking poison and nothing happened. Number 5, remaining unconquered by others. I'm not sure exactly what that means, remaining unconquered by others. Oh, I think maybe if someone is trying to get into your body or a spirit or something, then because you're able to keep it off, I guess that's what it means. So the 10 secondary cities, according to Vaishnava doctrine. Being undisturbed by hunger, thirst, and other bodily appetites. I have to say that's kind of what I'm being called towards right now, with the whole being sustained off the sun, eating less, and focusing on breath work and pranayama to get more energy into the body, into the mind, and I'm kind of being called towards that for whatever reason. Number 2, hearing things far away. 3, seeing things far away. 4, moving the body wherever thought goes. So teleportation, astral projection. Astral projection is a minor city. Assuming any form desired. Entering the bodies of others. Dying when one desires. I talk about these videos quite frequently, how Sadhguru's wife just kind of held a little gathering with Sadhguru and the rest of the folks, and she left her body. And same thing with Vivekananda. So these, you know what they call it? They call it leaving my body. They call it dropping my body. They say, I'm dropping my body. I'm done with this toy. I'm dropping my body. How hilarious is that? They don't even use the word I'm dying. They use the word I'm dropping my body. Witnessing and participating in the pastime of the gods. I guess that would be going into the realms of the gods. We talked previously in Buddhist cosmology, the 31 planes of existence. And I suppose at that level, you could go to the realms of the gods and participate if you choose to. Perfect accomplishment of one's determination. So that's total willpower to do something and doing it. Orders or commands being unimpeded. I don't know exactly what that means. So these are the cities, and within them there are many more, one such that I talked about is Edgar Cayce, the Dream Prophet. His city was reading into the past, future, and present. And again, really, do not seek after these cities. If they happen to be in your path and you happen to be attracted to something for whatever reason, use Wim Hof as a good example, right? Wim Hof, his wife died, he was depressed, he had a calling to go into nature, had a calling to do extreme things like being in extreme coldness. He said he wanted to numb down the sadness from his wife's depression. All of that led him into eventually, being able to withstand extreme colds, developing that city, right? And I suppose that's the city the spirit gave him in this particular round, in this particular lifetime, right? These cities you will start to possess some of them as you begin to expand your evolution of your consciousness, because these are your powers. This is you. I mean, you created the whole thing. You simulated the whole thing. You know how the whole thing works. You just have forgotten. You're in deep amnesia. It's the 5 physical senses that keep you tapped into this frequency, and you think you're so convinced it's real. You're so convinced of it because I often use the blindfold meditation when I meditate. Not often, almost all the time actually, because this is the most deceptive sense out of them all. This is the most deceptive sense out of them all. If you could live in here, right, then you could manipulate reality however. Okay, but I don't want to even say you can manipulate reality however you want, because again, you don't want to come at it from a place of want. Just go to the light. Your aim should be mukti. Your aim should be nirvana. Your aim should be the light. And that should be your aim. When you meditate, don't meditate to, possess a certain city or a certain power, but again, if it's in your path, in your storyline, trust me, spirit will reveal it to you when you're ready. This is like giving a machine gun to a 4-year-old. The 4-year-old is not ready. So spirit is wiser, cosmic love is wiser, and cosmic love is going to give the city that you need to have. You need to have this city. It's not that you need it. I mean, Wim Hof needs to have the city of withstanding extreme cold and extreme heat. He also ran a marathon in the desert, half a marathon or a marathon. He's given that city clearly, his path, his storyline, everything in it, because he's supposed to have it, because he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do right now. Okay? So yeah, my advice now would be to just keep working on your meditation. Keep working on your meditation, keep working on expanding your awareness, expanding your consciousness, and answer the call. Okay, we're all called to do something in life. Every single one of us is called to do something in life, but to dwell on developing the cities, developing the power for personal gain and personal glory and fame, because with a city that's all going to come with it: personal fame, personal glory, social recognition, etc., etc. Okay, you want to go beyond that. And humility is really the greatest city anybody could possess. Okay, so is there anything else I wanted to say here? No, that's about it. We will continue to explore this further. Yeah, the one thing, yes, I had something to say. If you want to break the tyranny of your rational, logical mind on your life, the strong hold, the strong skepticism in your mind, in the rational mind portion of your mind, read about people that have these supernatural abilities. Ram Dass said that if he didn't see his guru read his mind and do all these cities, he wouldn't have, his hold on reality and his letting go and surrender to cosmic love, to spirit, would not have taken place, not at the level that it had anyway. He says that he need, like when his guru told him about his mom who died of spleen, and he was basically saying how his guru literally became his mom's spleen, and when he told him about like intimate details of his past, he said that was necessary for Ram Dass to break his rational mind, to break the stronghold of his rational mind, because Ram Dass was a scientist. He was a psychologist in Harvard, and he was the epitome of the rational mind. Okay, and he said it almost like his guru needed to perform that city in that particular case to blow Ram Dass's rational mind so Ram Dass can come closer to the light. If you want to break the stronghold of your rational mind, logical mind, skeptical mind, then surround yourself with miracles. That's what I'm going to tell you. This is why when Wim Hof came out with his whole withstanding extreme colds, I listened to all his podcasts, every single one of them, for the next 6 months. And this is why right now I'm so immersed with my teacher Eli Tom Elamin on YouTube. I'm fully immersed with his material. I'm listening to him all the time, because he's a breatharian. He lives off prana. He lives off the sun. He lives off breathing techniques, pranayama, meditation. He always says meditation is the foundation. So I'm surrounding myself constantly with these people, living embodiments of these cities, right? Remember, the purpose of the city is just to blow your rational mind so you can come to the light. Don't be too obsessed with them. Don't be too preoccupied with their powers, because they're normal, like the Buddhist said, right? They're normal. This is normal. This is only a miraculous from someone who's ignorant of the nature of things, the true nature of things. Now, I'm very ignorant of the true nature of things. I need my rational mind to be blown. Believe me, I come from a very strong scientific, skeptical, rational background. That's why I'm constantly surrounding myself with these miracles and these miracle stories and these people that are embodiment. Like, we have embodiment. You don't have to take Ram Dass's word for it or anything. We have embodiment right now. Wim Hof is such an embodiment. Okay? Eli Tom Elamin is another one for me. You just see him, watch his videos. He's beaming with light. And You know, he is Master Yoda. This is Master Yoda incarnated in the modern world on YouTube. Master Yoda. So that's really the message, actually, the overriding message of this video that I wanted to make here. I see a lot of you guys, you know, very skeptical when I made the video saying that I'm drawn to get more of my energy from the sun. I'd like to be a hybrid and eat less and be sustained off the sun more and more, right? There's a lot of skepticism now. Again, that skepticism is from the point of view of not understanding the nature of reality. But kind of in my mind now, this is just the way of things. It's kind of normal, actually, you know? And I see the skepticism and I understand it and I have compassion for it because I come from a very skeptical background myself. I was an atheist at some point, okay? And I was very skeptical of everything, okay? I really was. I grew up as a Muslim. I was just like fed up with everything in it, and I went completely against that stuff, against religion, period, against God. And I was an atheist for quite some time. And so I come from a skeptical, I had a very skeptical phase in my life. And it took a little bit of faith and then psychedelics to show me that this is how it is, okay? That there is much more to reality than you thought. So that's the overriding message of the video. Okay, that's really why I wanted to make this video. This is the meat and the butter of it. Surround yourself with miracle stories. You don't have to go too far. They're out there. So brainwash yourself with their energy. And then miracles eventually will just become normal to you. Okay? So, special thanks to our lovely, beautiful, amazing, generous patrons. Thank you guys. I appreciate you, and every time I tell you I appreciate you, I mean it, because I'm trying to work on my meditation and be more present. So if I'm present here every time I show my appreciation, believe me, it's coming from the spur of the moment, and I'm sure you could feed it, you could sense it. So thank you guys, love you. And if you would like to become part of the Patreon family and support the growth of this channel and allow me to do this full time, then you could do so. You could contribute with $2 a month, right? $2 a month. And if enough people contribute, then we have enough funds for me to do this full time. And then we could take it even further and start a charity or donate the money to a certain charity that we can all collectively choose. And we can hold retreats. Now, I'm going to be leaving in Thailand in 6, 7, 8 months, something like that. And I would like to hold retreats there. Okay, I'd like to hold meditation retreats, and we could do all these things, not just meditation, but everything that we talk about here, from psychedelics and etc., we could do some of that in the retreat. So if that's something you're interested in, you know, if we got enough people to just pitch in, help out on Patreon, help me do this full time, and then take this even further. Okay, so God bless you guys. I love every single one of you, and until the next time, may the force be with you.